I was so focused on saying the words Mega Man then that I forgot the joke that we start our recording session with and have done for like 1,000 times.
I think Mega Man's such a fun word to say.
Mega Man, Mega Man.
Mega Man, come in!
Even though he looks like a child, what's that? What's that about? He's called Mega Man, but he looks like just a 5-year-old.
He is a child. He's a robot child.
Why is he called Mega Man then?
Well, because, it'd be cool. It would be like, I guess there's like Astro Boy though, right?
Yeah, well, he's Astro Boy, not Astro Man.
Because I was going to say that it would be a bit ridiculous if he was called Rock Boy, but yeah, there's
Rock
Astro
Boy
Boy.
sounds like a great hero. Maybe it's a Spider-Man thing. Do you ever hear that? Like, Stan Lee was once asked, like, why is he called Spider-Man when he's a teenager? It's like, because I didn't want to call him Spider Boy, because that would diminish how much of a hero that he is. Because that's the name for sidekicks, and Spider-Man's not a sidekick.
Spider Teen.
Spider Boy, Spider Lad.
Spider
Lad. Arachno Lad. That'd be what it'd be, right?
Arachno Boy.
Arachno Boy.
But as people can tell, we are talking about Mega Man today, and that is thanks to the lovely folks over on our Patreon who voted for this and House of the Dead at the same time.
I feel like this is fast becoming a gimmick where people are just not going to vote one way or the other on any of your posts. It's like the neutral planet. Do you remember when like likes and dislikes were on YouTube? And like the video of the neutral planet from Futurama had exactly 50%.
Oh, really?
Of like dislike, yeah. I do not feel strongly one way or the other.
What are your thoughts on this momentous occasion? Your neutralness?
I have no strong feelings one way or the other.
I threw out like a quick Twitter poll just to decide because it was still drawing by the time we came to record this, and I was like, well, I guess that poll is indecisive and I didn't make, myself aware enough to go do another one on Patreon, but Patreon viewers voted for both House of the Dead and Mega Man, so maybe I'll just record a House of the Dead video anyway, because I know Karl likes it.
We can just talk about it a little bit. The only thing I want to mention about House of the Dead is the Uwe Boll House of the Dead movie, where he had the balls to put in a clip from the game midway through a gunfight. And it cuts from like bad live action, like zombie shooting, to footage from the game. And it's amazing that he had the balls to do it. So Uwe Boll, you fucking hero.
I've not seen that Uwe Boll movie, but I will put the clip in. But yeah, I do want to like briefly we'll talk about House of the Dead as a little bonus section to start this video then. We won't commit to 2 full videos, but
okay,
we will get on to Mega Man, I promise.
What's your favourite House of the Dead gun? It's number 3, right, with the shotgun?
I was going to say, I don't remember the numbers, but I remember the shotgun.
It's House of the Dead with a big shotgun, right? 'Cause number 4 has the Uzi. And the Uzi feels cool, but nothing feels as satisfying as when you've got 2 players, House of the Dead 3, and you can, like, bump the shotguns together like you're in Hot Fuzz.
Well, I thought you were just going to say nothing's as satisfying as playing it on a Wiimote and waggling a bit.
I don't like that. Although, it is satisfying, the Wiimote versions where they had, like, the revolver connector, so you could like because I think when I played I used to use like the Lynx crossbow training holder.
The little zapper,
I miss light gun games so much.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, House of the Dead's great. I love playing Time Crisis. I also love Point Blank for being like the mini game light gun game as well.
Point Blank was so fun as well. And isn't the reason we can't have light gun games anymore it's something to do with TVs, right?
I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, we managed to make it work other ways, like the Wii pointer, and like the Joy-Con has gyro and to do pointer controls and stuff. It's not like we couldn't, but specifically the technology they used to use doesn't work on newer TVs. It works on like CRTs.
Yeah, because I think every time I mention I want light gun shooters to come back, someone always, well, actually they don't work on LCD screens and stuff. But the Wii got it to work.
Yeah, we managed to figure out other ways around that technology. It's not that we specifically want light guns back in the exact technology they used to work in, because go play Duck Hunt. It doesn't aim correctly half the time.
Yeah, and there's VR is probably the natural extension for gun shooter genre. But you know what? VR sucks because no one can see how cool I look. Only I can see how cool I look, and people looking at the screen just get disorientated.
Everyone else just has to watch you stumble around with a headset on looking like a dickhead.
Although I will say one of the funny things is I went to someone's house who had a VR set, and we were playing Super Hot, and halfway through just his mate tackled him. And I don't mean joking, I mean full on Rhino tackled him to the floor, and just the view on the screen was hilarious because his little character was peering around a corner, and then he just flew off the edge of a building.
Oh my god.
But the thing is, it's okay because he shouted, "Get down, Mr. President," first.
But anyway, moving on to Mega Man, as we mentioned, he is known as Rockman as well. That is the original name in Japanese. It is a science fiction video game franchise developed and published by Capcom. Mega Man used to be basically the Capcom character, right?
He was their mascot for a while, right? And it's to the point where Mega Man is the colour of Capcom's logo. Capcom's colours are Mega Man's colours.
Yeah. Gone are the days where Mega Man gets treated well
without any respect.
With some kind of respect, yeah. Mega Man 11 came out, but that was still years ago.
So to clarify, we're talking about Mega Man the series, not Mega Man the character.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Mega Man the series, and I'm going to be focusing on the classic series Mega Man. I don't really have too much experience with the likes of X, Zero, Battle Network, Legends, stuff like that, all of the extra series. I've got most of my experience with either playing the classic Mega Man games, 9, 10, and 11, where they tried to go back to the more classic feel,
or listening to the soundtrack
via Super Smash Bros.
What a bopping soundtrack Mega Man has, right? It's so good!
Let's see how the copyright system works, Carl, because I want to put a clip in of some of my favourite Mega Man songs. So
okay,
I'm going to put a clip in right now. And we'll see whether the copyright strike system has managed to take all of these amazing songs away from us, or whether they're actually in the video right now.
Well, normally we get away with playing music from a video game. It's when you try and play. We're not going to name any names because we don't want any of the fans to yell at us for daring to criticise someone they like on the internet, but there are many people out there who do video game covers, and almost every single one of them has the same music company who owns all their stuff, because every time we try and put clips in that are cover songs, they get copyright struck. And it's but okay, we don't own this music, but you certainly don't own it either.
Yeah, I get the way that, covers works to an extent, but so you want to claim copyright for taking your money away for your cover, but you're not willing to give the company who made the original song money to do that cover?
It's just wild, right? And that's why it's weird that the original rights holders for video game music give less of a shit than the people covering it.
It still reminds me of that one time when a load of Destiny content creators just got struck by one person claiming to be Bungie, and all of a sudden everyone was like, but you've said for years, Bungie, that you're cool with people using the music from the game in terms of, for the community's sake of making cool videos about the game and stuff. What the fuck? And it was just some person decided, yeah, I'm going to impersonate Bungie.
And let me guess, that person didn't get in trouble.
Oh, no, they did.
Oh, okay. Normally, when you get false copyright strikes, there's never any punishment for it. But
I believe they got taken to court by Bungie. They got their ass sued.
It was a lot of a lot of Grand Theft Auto gameplay gets copyright struck because the stock police siren noise they use in that game has been sampled on a lot of songs. Because when the rap song, for example, wants to have they want to sample the police siren at the start. Okay, now that artist thinks they own that sound effect, or at least their record label does. So a lot of Grand Theft Auto footage gets flagged because it has stock noises that appear in songs. It's are you fucking kidding me?
Well, hopefully we can keep all of the cool Mega Man music in this video like this one.
I'm hoping so. Just Mega Man. He's the Megaist boy. What can he go? Super fighting robot.
Super fighting robots. Mega Man.
So, question, Carl. How much of a history do you have with Mega Man as a franchise?
I have always loved Mega Man from afar. I've never actually owned one of the games when I was growing up. I played them after the fact. So I don't have the nostalgia for them, but I have the appreciation for them. Which I think they're two very different things, right? I didn't play them as a kid, but I was aware of their reputation, and as an adult, played them with the gift of hindsight and knowledge of what gaming was at the time, and went, okay, these hold up.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. My first Mega Man games that I played were kind of over the span of both the 360 and the Wii and the Wii U, kind of through like the Virtual Console, and then playing like Mega Man 9 and 10 on the 360. I think they were both on the 360, but either way, playing like Mega Man 9, 10, and 11, as I mentioned, and played like 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, and missed out that little part in the middle where people say, like, there was a decline.
I'll make you join my man.
Mega Man for me is similar to like which version of like which Metroid game did you play? Like, I know the difference between them, but to like an outside observer, or like someone who's like a more casual fan, you look at like every 2D Metroid game, like these are the same game. Whereas it's the same for like Mega Man for me. Of like, do you run around? Do you shoot? Do you get cool guns? Yeah, okay, that's a Mega Man game.
I think it's kind of similar to Final Fantasy, right? Where
those like first 5.
Well, I was going to say, just in general, you ask different people and they all have their favourite from, like, the catalogue of 1 through 15 or 16. Yeah, I think Mega Man's the same, is that maybe not a couple of them, but for the most part, I still hear people argue that Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 are really good. I don't hear many people arguing for 7, 8, and 11, but the rest of them... Mm-hmm. It seems to be pretty much just like, no, these were all consistently very good, very simple, classic Mega Man games where they only added little bits and pieces and just refined along the way.
Just new guns and refine the gameplay. And like I said, like Mega Man, he used to be Capcom's boy. He's not the boy anymore. Who would you consider to be Capcom's mascot at the moment? I'd say, is it a Resident Evil character?
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
Probably the biggest franchise right now is either Resident Evil or Monster Hunter, but it's hard to pick out a specific mascot because Resident Evil, there's at least in the mainline games, you've got like 6 different main protagonists to choose from.
I just miss when like companies, especially game companies, had mascots. I kind of miss that.
Is it the Rathalos?
Do you feel like the Rathalos is probably quite enduring, at least in Japan?
Because there's 2 things that got added to Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's Mega Man and a Rathalos.
The Rathalos is like pretty iconic. That's the thing, they don't really have a mascot. Except for like maybe Captain Commando. Well, and again, he has the same colour scheme as Capcom. Blue and yellow, baby.
It's not a mascot necessarily, but I think maybe the most main character that they've got as a representative of their company is probably Dante, right?
His name is Dante.
The games are good, but they're not popular. Like, they're popular within the genre, but that's the thing. Who's that character they've got as their universal appeal? It used to be Mega Man, and it's like, it's kind of not anymore. He's just chilling, enjoying his retirement.
Devil may cry.
It has been a mega retirement because the original game was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1987 and spawned a franchise that expanded to over 50 games on multiple systems.
Fucking hell. Okay, you know what? Mega Man needs to rest. Even a king needs to rest sometimes, and Mega Man's had a fucking rough time of it.
The main series apparently consists of 11 games, then the standalone Mega Man and Base, the spin-off Game Boy series, and various ports, remakes, and compilations. And
that's the thing about Mega Man. Is it used to be called, in Japan, he's Rockman.
Yes.
Because it's inspired by music. So Rockman and then his sidekick Rock and Roll. And then they changed it to Mega Man for the West, but then they didn't change any other characters' names. So now Mega Man doesn't fit into his own universe.
Yeah, almost every other character is named after some kind of musical reference. I guess his dog Rush might just be a reference to the band Rush, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But then you've got other characters like Bass and things like that where, yeah, just then there's Mega Man.
Mega Man.
It'd be like if they, like when they translated Dragon Ball over here, they called Goku Greg, but kept everybody else's name as like the vegetable pun. And it's like, yes, Greg and Vegeta.
They kind of got rid of half of Goku's name though, right? Because he's not Son Goku really over in the West.
Yeah, he's like, because actually Goku's not the pun, it's Kakarot, that's the pun on carrot, right? But still, it'd be like instead of Kakarot, they called him Chris.
Well, I mean, going back to Final Fantasy, that kind of reminds me of the fact that just Final Fantasy 16, who's the main character? Clive.
It's so stupid. It's like, because you mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh yeah, it is. Like, every Final Fantasy protagonist to that point had a name that is reminiscent of weather. Tidus as like the tide, and Squall as in like a storm cloud, and then Cloud as in a cloud, and lightning, and then what's he called? Fucking Clive.
I'm a monster, and I deserve to die.
I don't think Noctis is something to do with the weather, but at least it sounds like a more of a fantasy name, whereas fucking Clive does not fit in the Game of Thrones inspired world that is Final Fantasy 16's world.
To be fair though, the fact he's called Clive is probably the weirdest thing about that game. Like to the people of that universe, Clive is probably a really weird exotic name.
Yeah, I mean, to that universe, right, yeah.
Fucking Clive. It never stops. He's such a bad character. Clive.
And I've heard for people who played through 16 that a lot of people really like Clive as a character. It's just the name.
It's Clive, man. I'm sorry, no one's getting like Clive merch.
I think more people are getting bad box art Mega Man merch than they are Clive merch.
Please talk about bad box art Mega Man. Bad box art Mega Man is the best thing.
I'm gonna just Google bad box art Mega Man now because I can't remember which box it was on.
The very first one. It was Mega Man number 1.
Was it Mega Man 1?
It's Mega Man 1.
Here is the version that they got in Japan of like the Rockman main box art. And then here is just what the fuck are they doing over in the West with the Mega Man box art?
And that's because over in the West, at least for a couple of years, I don't think it's the case now with how much more interconnected the world is, but back in the day for gaming, they didn't think cutesy characters would sell because they sold gaming as a hobby for boys and teenagers. Mm-hmm. So they couldn't have like cute little Mega Man like going pew 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 pew. It's like, no, make him a guy with a gun. And they apparently hired an artist who'd never seen a human man ever. Because he stood like a fucking monster. He's like almost pseudo-impressionist, right? Mm-hmm. And he's got a gun in his hand because, the idea of a gun hand is too silly. It's like, oh my god, it's so bad.
An arm cannon, how ridiculous. It's like, you're playing a game where the guy's got an arm cannon. The moment you put that game in, you're going to realise that he doesn't have a gun.
What makes it really funny is that I will always respect Capcom for their commitment to the bit. For when they did like Tekken versus Street Fighter, they put in bad box art Mega Man as a character.
This is my destiny.
To much chagrin of most people who were like, why didn't you just put actual Mega Man in?
Because you know what? That's the thing. The fact they did it though, and they acknowledged it, is really fun. Not to mention the bug that he had. Did you ever see the bug with bad box art Mega Man in that game?
No.
So he had like an aerial gunshot, but every time he used it, he'd go higher up in the air, and then it reset his momentum. So you could infinitely fire in the air and rise off the screen and win. Because you'd be so high off the screen that an enemy couldn't get you, and if you hit them with one shot and did that, you'd win. Please put in a clip of someone doing it.
And essentially, it kind of like ruins a lot of online gameplay for players that are using Mega Man, especially for PS3 players, because I've already had this happen to me like 3 or 4 times while playing online.
We are kind of getting a bit of a renaissance, at least in terms of Mega Man hasn't been solely forgotten. There is one thing, and that is the announcement that Mega Man is getting an episode in the TV series Secret Level. So at very least, when that production company Blur Studios went presumably to Capcom and was like, what can we have? They still cared enough about Mega Man to make a Mega Man episode rather than like one about fucking Leon Kennedy.
It seems that they care, but it's like they're letting him rest, but they're letting their mascot rest. They're not like Activision, where it's like who's Spyro.
I mean, they're letting him rest in one sense. However, they are milking the shit, and I do appreciate the work they're putting in. They are milking the shit out of those Mega Man collections.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to complain about getting handy collections of classic games. Like, I love all that effort to restore those games and put them into collections onto modern hardware. It's super nice, and it's very weird as well that we also recently got, at the time of recording, we not long ago got Mega Man 1 through 5 for the Game Boy on Nintendo Switch Online. But then none of the Mega Man games from like the NES or Super NES are on there.
I just imagine it's like just an awful rights issue, right? 'Cause whenever you have something like this, like, why have they not got this one? It's a rights issue.
Well, it's because they're selling Mega Man 1 through 8 on the two collections, right? Whereas they're not selling the Game Boy ones.
That.
And that's what it'll be, is just, well, why would we let every Nintendo Switch online subscriber just play them through your service when they could give us money?
I love capitalism.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go through the release timeline here, Carl.
Okay.
This is 1987 onwards, so just when I say the years, just bear that in mind. But
okay.
87 is Mega Man, 88 is Mega Man 2, 90 we get Mega Man 3, 91 they were busy because we got Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge, Mega Man 4, and Mega Man 2 for the Game Boy.
Hell yeah.
92, so the year I was born, Mega Man 5's already out, and Mega Man 3 on the Game Boy. 93, you get Mega Man 6 and 4 for Game Boy. 94, we get the Wily Wars and Mega Man 5. 95, you get Mega Man 7. 96, you get Mega Man 8. So 96, and that's Mega Man 8, and that's in the space of like 9 years.
Yeah, they were busy.
They were busy.
Mega Man, there's more people to shoot.
Then we get 98, we get Mega Man Base. 2006, we get Mega Man Powered Up, released for the PSP.
Pour one out for the PSP.
The wild thing about the PSP, I always think of it as this like mega flop.
It was good.
But then it sold about as well as a Game Boy Advance did.
It did really well. The problem is they just didn't make any fucking games for it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Obviously, the Game Boy Advance was around for only a few years before the DS came out, but the fact that it even competed with those numbers, because there weren't games for it. There were shitty PS2 ports.
The best thing to do on the PSP was download PS1 games onto it. Because I think I've still got one knocking about somewhere that has like Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, and 9 on there, alongside like Medieval and a bunch of other PS1 games. Because there was a period where PlayStation actually let you play old games on their hardware, and I just downloaded as many as I could.
It's funny because both the PSP and the Vita have the same problem of just lacking meaningful exclusives, and there are a couple, I know, but compared to a lot of other consoles, that number of like exclusives that are just independent to that platform, they're not weird like spin-offs of the PS2 games that no one gave a shit about, or they're not really like downgraded ports. It just meant that nearly everyone I know with a PSP or PS Vita, the argument stumbled down to, well, it's really good for emulating old games.
Yeah. Which they could have sold it as. If they'd like pivoted and just said like it plays PS1 games, I'd be like, I'll buy a portable. Like if they'd have sold it as a portable PS1, that would have sold. That would have sold really well, because that's what Nintendo did, right? It's like, hey, basically our handheld is one generation or two generations prior to our current physical hardware you'd have in your house.
The DS could kind of do N64 ports, like it literally launched with a Super Mario 64 DS.
Yeah.
Then the 3DS could kind of get close to what GameCube games would be able to do. Yeah, there was like a couple of downgraded ports of like Wii games by the time 3DS came out and stuff as well, like the Donkey Kong Country.
It never made any sense that they tried to like say, ooh, our PSP has parity with our physical console. It's like, no, it doesn't. And you're just going to sell shit versions of the games I can play on my TV.
Yeah.
instead of selling me like, rock solid ports of stuff I played 2 years ago that I've got nostalgia for and want to play again.
And now we get that nice little balance between being modern but not quite super modern, where you've just got like Nintendo Switch and now a lot of handheld PCs coming out like the Steam Deck and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's like one of my favourite hard drive articles. It's like, why would you get a Switch and play Super Smash Bros. when you can get a Steam Deck and never shut the fuck up about it?
This thing is freaking awesome!
And then going back to the timeline, we got in 2008 Mega Man 9, which was kind of the revitalization, because between 96 and 2008, it was a couple of Mega Man games that were ports onto like handhelds, and then Mega Man 9, 12 years after Mega Man 8, and it went back to just looking like a fucking NES Mega Man game.
Which is good. I appreciate that they did that instead of what other older franchises try to do around the late 2000s and early 2010s, which is the edgy reboot. Do you remember,
Bomberman Zero?
The Bomberman Zero one.
Oh,
that was bad, right? When they try to make Bomberman edgy, it's like, no, the Bomberman is cute. Bomberman is still great. I hate that new Bomberman reboot that they did. It's wank.
The Xbox 360 is a weird time where you've got both experiments going on, right? You've got Bomberman Zero happening, but then in that same console cycle, we got Mega Man 9 and 10, and that was just basically make it a fucking NES game, essentially. Yep. With upgrades, obviously, but then also the experiment of, like, Pac-Man Championship Edition, where it's make the gameplay like old school Pac-Man, but then update all the graphics to make it look modern.
Yeah. Oh man, remember weird 3D like Pac-Man with a nose? Pac-Man should not have a nose. Like, what's the worst? Like, they try to convert a sprite-based character into 3D. And is it Pac-Man when they give him a weird nose?
When Pac-Man World comes out, and it's like, why have you got this giant Pinocchio nose on the go?
Which is lying. This is a good game. Dude, no, Pac-Man. that's got to be the number one with a bullet, right? Like, the worst transition from, like, a cool, iconic 2D sprite. Actually, you know what? I know, because the sprite work is largely considered some of the best in the biz. It is when they made Metal Slug characters in 3D.
I was literally just thinking maybe Metal Slug.
Yeah, because put in like just the select screen from like any Metal Slug game, which is like another series, like 10 fucking games. There's so much character to those characters. They have like really interesting designs, and like there's very visually distinct. Like Theo is my favourite because she's got like the glasses and the hat. And then they just, I think the kids would say they stole their aura for the newer games.
And I think, obviously, the perfect example of how to translate these characters is just shown off in Super Smash Bros., right? Of just both Mega Man and Pac-Man are this excellent blend of modernizing the sprite into a new 3D model, but also keeping so much of the classic element to it.
Including the way they move. Like Mega Man moves the way you would in a game, just translated to like the 3D graphical style of Super Smash Bros. And he has all of his moves, he has all his references. He's got the power knuckle for his dunk. One of the most satisfying dunks in the entire game. You can do it from a mile away.
And then, Carl, then we get the downturn era. Mega Man 9 and 10 came out in 2008 and 2010.
Okay.
And it was just, here we go. Back to formula. Classic Mega Man is back. We are back, baby. Mega Man can be a thing again. And in 2012, it lists Street Fighter X Mega Man. And I'm like, wait, what? At first, I thought it said Street Fighter X Tekken. And then it was like, no, Street Fighter X Mega Man.
Yeah, I think it was, like I say, it was a browser game that they maybe meant. But I remember, Mega Man versus Ryu. And you get like the Hadouken.
I couldn't remember whether it was actually good or not. I'd assumed that was just a bit of like a silly spin-off that no one liked.
It was really fun. It was like, it's more just okay, we're going to give like Mega Man like the spinning bird kick and the Hadouken and the Shoryuken and stuff like that. Because he already basically has those moves.
Okay.
So a thing that I really like about Capcom is they will put references to their other games within their games. Like you mentioned Devil May Cry earlier. Dante straight up just does lightning kicks when he equips like one of his weapons. Like Beowulf lets him do Rising Dragon, which is just a Shoryuken.
Yeah, they did in a Mega Man game, right? I can't remember whether, I think it might have been X, where they put in the Hadouken as a secret unlockable.
Yeah, he also has like the Shoryuken or something that looks very similar to it. Like it's in Smash Bros. Like his up tilt just does the little boom, little Shoryuken. And I love when Capcom do that. Like even in Marvel vs. Capcom, they give Deadpool a Shoryuken.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool's got like medium awareness. So it's like, let's just give Deadpool a Shoryuken.
And he literally says Shoryuken, yeah.
And Ryu will comment on it like, wait, when did you learn how to do that?
He's like, when you fucking did it, because I learned from you.
Isn't that really? They're willing to do that, and they'll put the reference in.
Doesn't list any of the Marvel vs. Capcom games, weirdly enough. But I guess that's like, even though Street Fighter X Mega Man is considered in the main list here, Smash Bros. And Marvel vs. Capcom don't get that honor, but then we get 2018 with Mega Man 11. People don't mind Mega Man 11, but it's all the lessons from Mega Man 9 and 10 and threw them out the fucking window.
Wait, the thing is though, right, when you're talking about Mega Man, is it ever going to be worse than Mighty No. 9?
Oh, no.
So that's the thing, we should have talked about that, because that is a hilarious story. Like, right down to just the...
giving it a few minutes here is all we ever need to talk about Mighty No. 9.
I guess the only thing that's worth even interest is that the weirdly antagonistic tone they took with the advertising, right? Where they called the fan base fucking loser nerds who can't get laid in the advertising.
Yeah, something about like not being able to get a date to your prom or something like that.
I think the line is "cry like an anime fan on prom night," and it's like that's
fucking
your audience.
Hell. Yeah.
You kill an enemy and you can absorb their power-ups, stuff that'll make you faster and stronger and make the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night.
Mega Man 11, it does keep the classic gameplay in a sense, but then adds like this gear mechanic gimmick, which I didn't hear great things about, and I didn't personally enjoy when I played like the beginning of Mega Man 11. And
man, all games need gear, Lucas. You need RPG elements and crafting.
Well, no, it's different. It was like gears as in mechanical gears, like you could slow down and speed up time with them.
No, you'll never be Beautiful Joe.
I'm Joe. Beautiful Joe.
Do you know what else Beautiful Joe had in? It had a reference to Devil May Cry. Because you fight Alistair, the demon that Dante gets the first, his electric sword from DMC1. The demon that's in that is in Beautiful Joe. And Joe knows Dante. They reference each other when they meet in Marvel vs. Capcom. They talk to each other.
I love the fact that they're willing to just do all that bullshit.
It's great. I just like the idea that Dante on the reg just hangs out with Beautiful Joe and is like, yeah, man, that's Joe, he's fucking cool.
I checked, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was 2017, so around this era where Capcom just doubled down on, let's make our games look ugly as fuck, and not in the good way, like Resident Evil 7 did.
The thing is, Resident Evil 7, the only reason it's ugly is because they have the most nothing protagonist who's ever existed. To the point where they didn't even show his face in advertising.
Well, it's purposefully ugly though, right? It's disgusting. It's like just brimming with just rotten flesh and mold everywhere and stuff, yeah.
What the hell?
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for supper.
And the character designs are off-putting in that sense. But even just like their protagonists from that, I do think that Capcom wanted to get a lot of respect from me. It's like, we're going to announce our new mascot for the entire brand, and it was Ethan Winters.
The man without a face.
The man with no face.
I think they either grabbed the character model or manipulated the camera or something to find out what Ethan Winters looked like, and he's just generic looking white dude. It's like, what did you expect?
Yeah.
He acts like the most generic guy in the world. He's got to look like the most generic guy in the world.
It's so wild. And it's like, it could, I think, if Resident Evil 7 had the sense of humour of Resident Evil 4, I really think it could have worked, because they need to just turn up the crazy just a hair. And it's the moment Jack Baker disappears from the game, it becomes way too serious. Because up until when Jack Baker's in the game, he's quoting like Ash Williams. That was a bit where he just jumps into a car that's on fire and starts doing fucking donuts while screaming, groovy! Then he disappears and it turns into a straight horror game.
Isn't the last couple of hours of that game just fighting like bland-looking mold creatures?
The molded
right?
as well are a terrible enemy type because they all look too similar. But then they do have Joe's Punch Venture, which is Jack Baker's brother Joe, who's like bayou crocodile hunting wild man, who punches all the zombies to death. And the ending of the game is he gets a fucking Nintendo Power Glove that makes him do suplexes. And the final boss fight is you do a first-person suplex to the Swamp Man. And you fight alligators and shit. And it's like, where was that? Where was that attitude for Resident Evil 7?
I don't like playing the first-person horror games of like RE7 and 8 because I tried them both and they're a bit too immersive for me. I'm not great with horror, so
and as well they're too much horror. I wish there'd just be a little bit more humour in there because there's elements. Like I said, Jack Baker is very funny. He's gone in the first 5 hours.
That's what I was going to say, is the things that did stand out to me in terms of marketing or clips that I've seen is when you've got characters like Jack Baker and Lady Dimitrescu and is it Heisenberg as well?
I don't want to be a part of Miranda's family.
Neither did I, but here we are. And I'm next in line, right? Kill me, move up the chain. Well, fuck that!
Lady Dimitrescu also disappears after the first 5 hours. She's the first enemy you kill, and you fight her daughters, not her.
Yeah.
They really made a mistake. It's one of those classic marketing blunders of they didn't realise how popular the character would be. Put her in an advertisement, and everyone's like drawing fan art of her dunking basketballs. She's in the game for about an hour. And she's actually an incredible character, because she has such good lines, like, stupid man thing! And she's just kicking away through fucking solid steel doors.
And it should have been more, maybe kind of like mid-game, like, for example, in RE4, where you've got, it's Salazar, right? Not Sadler. Sadler's the main character.
Mr. Kennedy!
Mr.
You know it, right?
Kennedy!
That tone.
And just lean into it. That's when I love Resident Evil, is when it is just a mix of horror and really leaning into the campy B-movie style as well.
I've been expecting you, my brethrens.
No thanks, bro.
My, we've got a feisty one.
Yeah, and just some of the games don't nail it. They don't nail the balance. RE4 perfects the balance because you have the Mr. Kennedy and your right hand comes off, but also the regenerator moment, which is fucking terrifying.
It is, yeah.
But then RE8 doesn't really strike the balance. So you do have Heisenberg, who just talks like Nick Cage. He's just straight up a guy doing a Nick Cage impression. It's fantastic.
But anyway, Carl, we're talking about Mega Man all meant to be.
What would Mega Man do in the Resident Evil universe? And is the answer fucking own everybody?
Own everyone, yeah.
Who would have a chance against the Mega... I forgot Dead Rising's coming out soon, the remake. The Mega Buster's in that game.
It is,
Capcom put the fucking Mega Buster in Dead Rising.
They did as like one of the cool unlockables for doing really well in the game, right? You just get to essentially unlock God mode as Mega Man.
Do you know my favourite thing about the Mega Buster as well? It's a one-hit kill on everything in the game, except for Adam the Clown, who can parry it. Adam the Clown can parry the Mega Buster.
Well, speaking of the Mega Buster, Carl...
Tell me about it. Tell me about the Mega Buster.
Well, one of my favourite things is the fact that Mega Buster's not his only weapon, and obviously the main gimmick of Mega Man, or at least the classic Mega Man games, is that you've got a bunch of different stages, and each of them has a robot master that you kill at the end, and
you can complete it in near enough any order. And if you're struggling with one level, go kill a easier robot master to get their weapon. Maybe that weapon will help make the other level easier. And it's like, such a great gimmick.
And the game doesn't really explain that to you, but that's something that fans figured out over the years of just, here's the easy route through each game, right? Because your portrait's just in the middle of 8 different portraits, and you don't really get a hint as to which one's the easy boss, but the fact that when you kill a boss, you take their weapon and their gimmick, and then that gimmick is strong against another boss. And it says here, for instance, Fireman will take more damage from Iceman's weapon than from other weapons. And you would think it was Iceman would take more damage from Fireman, but...
I need video games to decide whether or not fire is weak or strong against ice. Please decide, because they flip between in Final Fantasy games. Every other Final Fantasy game, fire is strong against ice, and then other games it's weak against it. So please decide how this works. It's like the whole thing about like, red barrels. Video games got that shit. They figured that out right away. There was a universal consensus: red barrels fucking explode.
Obviously, I don't remember all of the Robot Masters, but I don't even remember. I think it's like Metal Man, right?
Is it the Zong?
It is Metal Man, yeah. Where just from Mega Man 2, and it's just always the most like busted Mega Man ability. I never felt as powerful in any other Mega Man game than I did when I've got those metal blades.
When you're in Smash Bros. And Kirby gets it, it's like, dear God, now. Who gave Kirby multiple knives?
Who gave Kirby angry eyebrows, Carl?
Oh, we didn't even mention like angry eyebrows Kirby. We were talking about like when they'd redesigned
The box
art.
arts, yeah.
There's bad box art Mega Man, then there's Western Kirby, where all they do is give him angry eyebrows. Because Kirby's too cutesy, but he's too iconic to the series to fully replace on the box. So just give him angry eyebrows. Like he's in Kirby's Air Ride. Kirby's never been angry. He's never been angry at anything unless they nick his fucking dinner.
He doesn't need to be angry because he's essentially God. He can just deal with a problem without getting angry about it. But it's always so funny comparing those box arts of like, here's the American version where Kirby's just angry again.
The Air Ride one's the best because like Air Ride looks like it'd be so much fucking fun. Why is he angry? Why is he angry when he's having like the time of his goddamn life?
And maybe when I eventually do get around to playing Mega Man X or Mega Man Zero games, then we can talk about those like spin-off series, and I know how much people love and want more Mega Man Legends, but again, I don't have too much experience with those, so I can't really cover them other than I've heard good things.
And that's the thing, it's like what I said earlier, isn't it? I'm aware of the Mega Man series by reputation. And I have an appreciation for it, not a nostalgia.
So many Mega Man games, and a lot of them are excellent, that's the thing.
Yeah, with 50 though, it's like you need at least 25 of them to be good for the series as a whole to be good. And I don't like those odds.
I like the odds considering that, 9 out of the 11 Mega Man games are considered great.
That's good
odds.
If
not, all of them are considered pretty good.
Is there a series you can think of that has like more consistency than that? And you can't say Mario.
Why am I not allowed to say Mario?
Because Mario's like the first answer you're going to quote with, and of course every Mario game's like 10 on 10, right? With rare exceptions, like the Lost Levels is not great.
I'd say that every single game in like The Legend of Zelda is considered at very least a good game.
Except for, what's the one that all the weirdos dislike because Link's not an edgy wolf man?
Which one? Wind Waker?
Yeah, where everyone was like shitting on it when it was released, but now it's considered a masterpiece because
now it's considered one of the best in the series, yeah.
Because Link wasn't an edgy wolf boy, and it's like, man, you can tell that the primary audience for the game was 14 around that time, right?
Just all of the people that had played Ocarina of Time as a kid got like just started creeping into their teens and was like, where's edgy wolf boy? Yeah, there's like a few games in the Legend of Zelda series, not talking about the CDI games, which are just like these weird like non-existent games.
One day we're gonna have to get you to play them.
I know,
because you're such a huge fan of the series that like your name on Twitch is literally Legend of Kanto. You're that big a fan of the series. We need to get you to play those CDI games, or maybe one day we can get drunk and do a watch along with the cartoon series of like, excuse me, princess.
Oh, but that will be for another day.
Well, people can vote on our Patreon, right? We get enough people supporting us on there. Maybe we'll do a watch through of that.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will. And always remember, you can like, share, subscribe to help us out. And we've got memberships where you can watch this video ad-free as well, and all the rest of the lovely jazz. And yeah, I'll see you all later, and thank you all for joining.
Cheers!